system only dreams in total dark.
The Majority Report with Sam Seder.
The destiny of America is always safer in the hands of the people than in the conference rooms of any elite.
Sam Seder.
They are unanimous in their hate for me, and I welcome their hatred.
We must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
The Majority Report with Sam Seder.
Ever get the feeling you've been cheated?
It is Tuesday, November 6, 2018. My name is Sam Seder. This is the 5-time award-winning Majority Report. We are broadcasting live steps from the industrially ravaged Gowanus Canal in the heartland of America, downtown Brooklyn, USA. On the program today, getting platformed, Sean McElwee, contributor to The Nation magazine, the chief meme officer of Data Progress. We're going to abolish ICE on Twitter. Talking about the races to watch, in particular, the state houses that Democrats may take. Also on the program today, 36 million people vote early, and hopefully more will go to the polls today. Meanwhile, go vote. And Trump, in a sign he may have had seen some bad numbers, tells Sinclair Media, maybe I could add a slightly different tone.
Could have been a little nicer, and I think we all need to think about that.
And just a reminder, we won't spend any time on it today, but tomorrow, well, maybe tomorrow afternoon, Mueller time starts.
Oh, wow. There it is. You mean
And
what?
turns out Ivanka Trump, genius businesswoman, particularly when it comes to the Chinese. I wonder why.
She's very talented.
Also on the program today, Steve King drops a parting shot of homophobia, hopefully on his way out. And Amazon to ruin 2 places at once. Dems poised to pick up maybe 10 state houses. And you can thank Harry Reid for the most diverse judiciary ever, and for Trump not having double the number of judge appointments. All this and more on today's Majority Report. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a exciting day. It is a day that I think many people have been thinking about to some degree or another for about 2 years. And we are here. And frankly, you know, we will talk about this as the show progresses. I think we all have a sense of, you know, what we think is going to happen, but I'm not convinced that that isn't too much a function of what we hope are going to happen. Sometimes that's difficult to sort of separate. And plus, I don't know if many of you were paying much attention during the run-up to the 2016 election, but some of us are a little bit shy about making predictions.
Gonna be no problem tonight. Democrats gonna sweep cross the country. All vote models look great. We're gonna win. It's gonna be super easy. So just vote if you can, but don't break your back about it.
There you go.
That's my message.
There you go, folks. Yeah, don't.
Not like if it's a major inconvenience, don't do it because we got this.
Yes. So there's that, and but I'm not convinced that everyone who's listening to us is not already voted. What's really interesting to me is how many of you are doing like poll watching and go out, get out the vote. We will take calls. We're going to do a quick interview, and then we'll take calls in the fun half, and want to hear from people who are voting. I don't want to hear from, we're not going to talk about any other issues today. Want to hear from you if you're voting. Some
Nor
reports
2020,
you're voting.
by the way.
What's
Can I
that?
add that? And
Exactly.
not 2020.
Don't want to have a debate about 2020, all that, et cetera, et cetera.
And if you didn't vote, you can delete this podcast from your phone right now.
Honestly, I don't want you watching or listening. If you're not, I mean, if you're planning to vote or you're walking to vote, okay, fine. But I mean, if you're not, go away for today.
Become a patron of TMBS.
There you go. Yes, go give Michael some money.
Go give me some money. And as I say, it's really pretty easy. So especially if you live in a blue state, just relax.
The New Yorker is an iconic magazine that represents the best writing in America today. Beyond publishing the best writers in the world, New Yorker holds people in power accountable through rigorous reporting and compelling storytelling. I mean, think about the stories that we have heard that have, just in terms of the Me Too movement that have taken place this year in the pages of the New Yorker. Everything I learned about Charlie Kirker, I learned from Jane Mayer in the New Yorker.
Yeah, Charlie Kirk.
I mean, Charlie Kirk.
That amazing, even on this show, I had that amazing piece about the Tory PR firm that works in South Africa. That was another incredible piece in the New Yorker that was like more under the radar, obviously, but they're just on everything.
The piece about Harry Reid, I mean, I sort of aware of this, but Tubin wrote a piece about Harry Reid's getting rid of the filibuster. Very important if the Democrats take back the House and the Senate, that people understand the context and what the importance of getting rid of the filibuster meant. All in the New Yorker magazine. They also incorporate features like poetry, fiction, cultural criticism, and satire into every issue. This is where you get the best writing anywhere, everywhere, with home delivery of the print edition each week. Or you can read it on the go with the New Yorker Today app, or, of course, via Google News. New Yorker is one of the ads. Look, we screen out some advertisers. We won't take every advertiser. But there are very few where I'm actually excited that they're advertising on the show. And the New Yorker is one of those. Don't wait. Go to thenewyorker.com/majority. It is the best writing in the country. Listeners of the Majority Report save 50% when they enter the code majority. So with this special offer, you'll receive 12 issues for just $6. Plus, you get the exclusive New Yorker tote bag. You can choose between the print, digital, or combo subscription. Subscribe to the New Yorker. Read something that means something. That's 12 issues for $6 and a free tote bag when you go to newyorker.com/majority. We should keep this one in for members today just so that they hear that deal. Oh, and folks, check this out too. Grove Collaborative, it's changing the world. 94,000 trees are cut down in the U.S. every day to make toilet paper and paper towels, but Seedling, available at grove.co, makes 100% tree-free paper products from bamboo and sugarcane. Grove carries the best natural products. All right, so I just got a box from Grove. I had the toilet paper, great. Had the paper towels, great. More than that. Why is that TMI?
No reason. Go ahead.
Everybody does it. Grove carries the best natural products. They have innovative products like Seedling to refillable glass soap dispensers and wool dryer balls that last for 1,000 loads. It is your one-stop shop for household, pet, personal care supplies, and a bunch of natural brands you know and love. So in that cabinet right there, I've told people I have a little smell issue. I don't know what that's from. It's new, but they have the free and clear soap dispenser. I can't remember the name of it is, but I got that delivered. I got. It's true. It's true. I can't help it. They have all the products that I like. Plus, they have a concentrate that we put into the bottles, and so we don't have to buy, crappy cleaner. All of it. It's great. Every product is vetted to be the most effective, sustainable, natural product out there. With auto shipments, price matching, and 100% happiness guarantee, life is easier and cheaper with Grove. Look, I am doing all I can to avoid buying stuff on Amazon. But there are times where you want it delivered, and it's difficult to find all natural products, cleaning products. So far, I'm loving Grove. I'm loving it. It's extremely convenient. This stuff is heavy. I got to deal with I got too many logistics in my life. I like to purchase, set, and save, and that's it. Boom. If you haven't already tried Grove, you need to shop today before this deal runs out. For a limited time, listeners who sign up will get an amazing 30-day supply of Seedling. That's the tree-free paper towels, Michael, toilet paper and tissues, plus a 60-day free VIP membership and a surprise bonus gift just for you when you sign up and place an order of $20 or more. Check out Grove and our special offer at grove.co/TMR for the Majority Report. That's grove.co/TMR for the Majority Report. Check it out today. All right, let's play this clip of Donald Trump. I don't know if I want to play this one or I want to play the mood thing. Oh, the tone? The tone. I mean, look. Donald Trump gets numbers that you and I do not get. And he gets them from Republicans. And they tend to, I think, they're trying to manage his expectations, and they're trying to get him out in front of things. And look, they certainly thought that Donald Trump was going to lose in 2016. There was nobody coming to him at noon or the night before the election saying, like, you got this, boss. So, I don't know, make of this what you will. But here is Donald Trump being interviewed by Sinclair Media. This is his favorite non-Fox owner-operated quasi-network across the country. And he's asked if he regrets anything, which is... Now, also just remember, like, this is like literally... You remember, did you ever see the Happy Days where the Fonz couldn't say that he was wrong? Do you know what I'm talking about? He would say, and it's so dumb. So dumb, right? But it's good.
The Fonz is cooler,
if you're
though,
10,
as far as I
if you're
understand.
10, that's sort of funny. When you're older, it's a little bit ridiculous. Okay, except for our president does that. And he doesn't do it with just like not being able to pronounce words, but he does it in like, he'll take 2 or 3 words to do that.
Talk to me about, this is something that I asked your predecessor about during his term. I asked President Obama, so I'll ask you the same thing. Is there anything, as you look back at your first almost 2 years, that you regret, that you wish on you, that you could just take back and redo?
Well, there would be certain things. I'm not sure I want to reveal all of them, but I would say tone. I would like to have a much softer tone. I feel to a certain extent I have no choice, but maybe I do, and maybe I could have been softer from that standpoint, but I want to get things done. We've had tremendous victories on trade. We've had tremendous victories on so many different things. On our military, you look at what we've done with rebuilding the military, but I would say if there's anything, I think tone would be perhaps something. I'm not sure that if I did that, maybe I'd be swamped, okay? Swamped meaning with the other side, because I wouldn't say that tone's been so nice either. But that would be something I would say that I'll be working on.
There you go. Tone. But I would
Swamped meeting with the other side.
Couldn't do it. I mean,
because they would take advantage of me.
I made a mistake about tone, but it's probably not my fault.
It probably wouldn't be. And even if I did it differently, it would be their fault because everybody's unfair to me. But perhaps, I don't know. And I'm also going to sort of awkwardly turn my body right now. Like you mentioned 10-year-old, and he does look like he's at some function that he doesn't want to. Tone, there was maybe a things that I
something
should.
I did wrong. I would say
the amount of conditional statements in there.
No, the proof is in the pudding. What happens tomorrow?
I got flashbacks to grammar. Like you underline the conditional statements. Like I'm going to see if we can go through this just quickly again.
Nerd alert.
One second.
No, what I like though is I like
Count
how
the
he's
conditional statements.
Conditional statements.
It's like when they
Talking
ask
about, this
you.
is something that I asked your predecessor about during his term. I asked President Obama, so I'll ask you the same thing. Is there anything, as you look back at your first almost 2 years, that you regret, that you wish on you, that you could just take back and redo?
Well, there would be certain things. I'm not sure I want to reveal all of them, but I would say tone. I would like to have a much softer tone. I feel to a certain extent I have no choice, but maybe I do, and maybe I could have been softer from that standpoint, but I want to get things done. We've had tremendous victories on trade. We've had tremendous victories on so many different things.
What does that have to do with
on
tone?
our military? You look at what we've done with rebuilding the military, but I would say if there's I think tone would be perhaps something. I'm not sure that if I did that, maybe I'd be swamped. Swamped meaning with the other side, because I wouldn't say that tone either. But that would be something I would say that I'll be working on.
12. I counted 12.
Yeah. There you go.
It's
I think we
like
might have missed a few.
it's like when they ask you in a job interview what your biggest fault is, and you're like, too much of a perfectionist.
My problem is
I guess.
I work way too hard and I just can't let a project go until it's absolutely perfect. So sometimes people have a difficult time working with me because I just won't sleep. I won't stop until everything is absolutely right.
Flaws. Not enough me time. I give too much.
I'm too passionate about making America great again.
The problem with me is I just simply won't stop until everybody gets a great fucking deal.
Oh, boy. Folks, one of today's sponsors is newsvoice.com/majority. Look, you know that a lot of people live in a bubble. This is a great thing to pass on to your relatives who are stuck with inside the Fox News bubble, because this is a way to introduce them to other news sources, but to do it like with a soft landing. There's a media company that's come up with their own response to this problem of epistemological closure. It's called News Voice.
Tough stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's sort of an app for iOS or Android. It could maybe not be.
Perhaps you could use it on another operating system
maybe
in a sense.
I don't know. Look, you can access it for free if you go to newsvoice.com/majority. It gives you a personalized news feed by aggregating a mix of mainstream media sources, international sources, and independent media sources. Multiple sources are provided for each news story. This is the way that I read the news, folks. You want to get multiple angles on any given story, ideological angles, and just reportorial angles. The entire app is fueled by crowdsourcing. You can upvote stories you think are important so more people will see them. You can add stories to the app, or you can add a source that's missing for a story. It's meant to be a completely open and democratized news aggregator that lets you get every side of every story. They also have a video interview series featuring guests from like Chris Hedges to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Go download the app for free at newsvoice.com/majority. If you're listening on the podcast, we've put this address in the podcast description notes. And if you're watching on YouTube, below us on YouTube. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. Sean McElwee. We are back. Sam Seder on the Majority Report. It is a pleasure to finally provide a platform for our next guest. He is the co-founder of Data Progress, also a contributor to Nation Magazine, Sean McElwee. Sean, welcome to the program at long last.
Thank you so much for this platform, Sam.
You're welcome. Now, Sean, let's start. I mean, I know you wrote a great piece about how the implications of the way down ballot, and I want to get there in a moment. But give me what you think is going to be the top line stories coming out of after the election today.
Sure, I think there is going to be a couple. First off, we're seeing more and more candidates running on unabashedly progressive positions like Medicare for All, ending Citizens United. We're seeing fewer and fewer candidates who have A ratings from the NRA. The sort of anti-choice Democrat has basically disappeared. And the idea that you have to be anti-choice to win swing districts, which was always absurd, is gone. And we actually just did an analysis of the Upshot polling that is on the Data for Progress blog, where they asked about single payer in a selection of the swing districts they polled. And what we found is that in every swing district where they polled single payer, support was positive. So these swing district voters support these policies. I think looking at specific races, there's going to be a couple big takeaways. First off, you have black candidates performing really well across the country. We have Gillum and Abrams who are running for governor, and both of them, I think, are either going to win or make those races much closer than I think many people expect them to be. We've got Antonio Delgado in New York. We have Lauren Underwood in Illinois. We have Colin Allred in Texas. And these candidates are all performing incredibly well in incredibly swingy districts. And I think that points to the fact that the Democratic Party has to do a better job of creating pipelines for black candidates, and also needs to stop sort of having this mold of a candidate that excludes, a football player who is now a civil rights lawyer. We need to get rid of that model, and we need to sort of embrace, candidates who actually can win.
So, I mean, we're seeing, so there's two phenomena here. That one is that, or maybe they're on the same continuum. One is that the crop of candidates running for Democratic office in 2018 is significantly to the left in terms of their positions from what they were in 2012, let's say. Mm-hmm. And then you're suggesting that based upon the success that we're seeing already to this point, that they can go further.
Absolutely. I mean, there was this sort of mythology that if you're in these suburban districts that went for Clinton, you've got to take moderate positions, right? In California, the way we win over is we got to win over suburban moderates. And what we're seeing that two of the candidates who are performing the best in California, Josh Harder and Katie Porter, both support single payer. Looking at the Sessions seat in Texas, which is a seat, by the way, the Democrats didn't even contest in 2016, Colin Allred is running on Medicare for All in that district. So we're seeing a lot of these districts where we were told progressives could never run on their sort of values and win are poised to make big victories. The sort of Medicare for All point is still contested by the center. But the center has basically conceded at this point that there's actually no evidence that we have to run to the right on guns or abortion. And the reality is that the candidates are increasingly starting to be like, look, if I don't support Medicare for All, Republicans still bash me for supporting Medicare for All, and the base gets mad because I don't support Medicare for All, so I might as well support Medicare for All. And unsurprisingly, the number of candidates who support Medicare for All has increased dramatically this cycle.
Do you have a sense of? Do you have any data as to how many of the Democrats who are running for Congress support Medicare for All? Is
the data I've seen? Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry. The data I've seen suggests that in swing districts, it's getting close to 50%. The biggest problem that we have, because I've actually been doing a project that involves trying to code this going back a long time, and it is incredibly difficult to do because candidates tend to be candidates. So depending on how you code Medicare for All and Medicare buy-in and things like that, you get anywhere from 50% to more of Democrats in swing districts.
All right, let me just explain what that means to people who are not statistics people. It's how you define. Well, I mean, it's just.
Am I going to lose my platform?
This is you're on shaky ground. Let's put it that way. It's just some candidates are slipperier than others as to what they are supporting. They'll come and they'll say a Medicare for all type of situation or something like that, and it's hard to pin them down. But at least within that area, there's some ambiguity, but at least 50% are doing that, and I would imagine. The rest are saying we need to improve the Affordable Care Act in some fashion.
Yeah, to be clear, the difficulty here is that there's the idea of a single payer system, right, in which everyone is sort of covered by a single government plan. And I think that when Bernie Sanders talks about Medicare for all, that's what he has in mind. There's another version of this, which is like everyone has access to Medicare through a buy-in. So everyone could buy into Medicare, but you could also get insurance on a private market. And so depending on how you code that as like a hard Medicare for all or a soft Medicare for all, you get different numbers. An example of this is like Gene Ortiz-Jones in Texas 23 is a full supporter of a single payer. But you have some other candidates who are sort of squishy, and you have even more candidates who said that they were Medicare for all supporters in the primary, and then once they won, were like, and what I mean by that is a buy-in for Medicare.
Right.
But it's undoubtable that we are seeing candidates who feel the need to make rhetorical waves to the left, and I think that what the left's sort of position on this should be is like sort of broad tent. As soon as you're in Congress, you need to co-sponsor. The Congressional Caucus Medicare for All bill in the House. Otherwise, you were not being honest with your voters.
Right. Okay. So and it's just a question of like, well, this is what we heard, and this is what we're going to hold you to. I like the idea of litmus tests after people get elected. That to me, I quite like a bit. And remember these folks. They got to run every 2 years. All right. Well, so just because we this is the parlor game of this day. What do you think is going to happen in terms of the Senate before we go to the down-ballot stuff?
Sure. I think I actually think the Democrats end up picking up a Senate seat or two. I think that we are really well positioned to hold on to our toughest seats. And I think we are really well positioned in Nevada, Arizona. And I think that it is totally within the realm of reason that either Tennessee or Texas, more likely, I think at this point, Texas swings to us. The reason for that is if you look at early vote in Texas, you had the Latino turnout that was equivalent to 2016, which is just unheard of in a midterm election.
Wait a second. So now, when you say that, wait a second. When you say that, because I saw this reported, Latino turnout in the early numbers are equivalent to early numbers in 16, not total.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. No, the early vote. So there's a lot of bad things that happen with early voting, and I would strongly encourage people to not look at the percent changes number. What you really want to be looking at is share of the electorate, because percent changes can be deceiving when you have something like youth turnout that is 10%, right? So if you hit 20%, that's a 10% increase, but it's a 100%, right?
Right.
In 10% difference. Whereas if you're like old people move up 10%, and they already turn out at a 60% rate, the percentage change is actually quite a bit smaller, despite the sort of percentage point change being similar. This is a sort of overly complicated for a podcast. But the sort of long and short of it is the number you really want to be looking at is what share of the electorate does each group make up compared to another baseline. And so when you have Latino turnout at the early voting looking like 2016, that's pretty surprising because normally in midterms we see a drop off on key Democratic groups. So the only question at this point in my mind is how much better does Beto perform with whites in Texas than Clinton did, and it is totally reasonable for me to believe that he could perform better than she did with whites.
So, and my understanding is that when we look at the early voting in terms of youth turnout, we're seeing a similar dynamic, broadly speaking, not just in Texas, but in Texas as well, where they are almost twice the slice of the pie of early voters, which gives you an indication that maybe there'll be that big of an element in the electorate after the entire election is over. And that's encouraging because young people tend to vote for Democrats more than Republicans.
Yeah, and you've seen the Republican Party respond to this by, in states like New Hampshire, essentially implementing a poll tax on college students. And there's been incredible efforts among Republicans to suppress the votes. But you're sort of seeing finally the Democratic Party begin to take seriously the idea that its ability to win elections is heavily dependent on turnout among young people, just because of how many young people vote Democrats. If you're looking at 65 plus, you're seeing a narrowly positive R. But if you're looking at folks who are 18 to 34, you're seeing plus 20, plus 25 Democrat. So increasing the turnout among young people has just massive potential gains for the Democratic Party, particularly as 35-year-olds are adults now, and they're a huge part of the electorate, and they're the type of people who should be voting pretty consistently.
All right, let's talk about way down ballot. Now we've got about I don't know how many. You tell me. Maybe at least a half a dozen state houses that could flip. I mean, I'm not talking about the governorship. We could be picking up. Democrats could be picking up 10 governorships. But in terms of legislators, there's quite a few that are in play. And even down below that, there are a whole host of the energy seems to have permeated the elections on all levels in a way that I don't think we've seen in the past.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're absolutely right about the governorships. The big problem is that we're on track to pick up about 11 governorships and possibly lose Alaska, which is an independent Democratic governor. But that is less useful if you have a situation like you have in North Carolina, where the Republicans have such a supermajority in the legislature because they've gerrymandered the district so much that they can just overturn the will of Roy Cooper. So what we're seeing the Democratic sort of base do is there's a concerted effort to make a couple things happen. First, flip a bunch of state legislatures. It's actually very possible that Michigan goes from being a Republican trifecta to a Democratic trifecta in a single day. That has almost never happened, but there is definitely possibility for huge pickups in the state Senate and in state House. You're seeing in Colorado and Minnesota, which should be blue states, there are still chambers that need to be flipped. And then you're also seeing some plays like in Florida and North Carolina, where what Democrats are trying to do is basically pick up enough seats that they can flip the chambers in 2020 and be really well poised for another round of redistricting, where they both have the control of the governor and also have control of the requisite chambers to ensure that they have, I can't swear on the show, right? So fair districts.
You can. Sure.
Oh, they have the unfucked districts.
Oh, Jesus. No, I didn't realize you were going to say that.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm joking.
Sorry.
I'm joking.
Shit, am I going to get no platform again?
Enjoy your last time on the show, buddy. You can't say stuff like that.
I really am.
Well, and just to remind people, too, what happened to Cooper in North Carolina, Cooper wins the election, and essentially the legislature says, oh, incidentally, all the powers that the governor has, we just legislated them away. You no longer have the ability to pick committees, to pick commissions. You don't have, basically, we have just turned you into a figurehead by taking away all of your powers as governor, particularly in the context of stuff that may build political power for the future. What other states are we looking at? Virginia, in terms of what other states can we see there's a chance where we'll have complete domination of the state electoral apparatus, which is huge because we got the census coming up in 2020, right?
Yeah, well, Virginia had their elections last year, but in New York, there is actually, and this is surprising to, I think, a lot of your listeners, many of whom may live in New York, the Democratic Party has never actually had a sustained trifecta in the state of New York, by which I mean they've never had an entire legislative session in which Democrats controlled all three branches of government. And they need to flip one state Senate district to make that happen. And that is almost certainly likely to happen. And that I actually have a pretty large bet on that. And that means that the Democrats will finally have the chance to pass single-payer health care in New York, to pass voting reform in New York, to bring automatic voter registration to the state. So there are those sorts of blue states where sadly we are having to continue to make progress. There's also been some bullishness in Wisconsin. There's been Scott Walker has been incredibly hard to unseat, but Democrats have a candidate in Tony Evers, who's one of the few statewide Democrats, though he strictly speaking runs as a nonpartisan for the superintendent of schools there. And there's also a very exciting LG candidate named Mandela there, who is very exciting for progressives and has sort of been definitely talked about as a sort of future star of the party. So that's the other key thing we're seeing in state legislatures, is that as Democrats pick up state Senate seats and governorships, they create a bench of politicians that can make the sort of next generation of senators, House members, governors, and things like that.
All right, I want to ask you a question about that, but I also just want to remind you there is a special election in Virginia, Carter Turner versus Joe McNamara, and I believe the House of the House of Delegates hangs in the balance.
Drag me, Daddy.
But there you go. Sorry. I mean, I let you swear on the show. I had to do that. But let me ask you this, because we have the leadership of the Democratic Party is baby boomers, right? And there is a real void, essentially, in terms of leadership and exciting politicians of people of my age, who are in between. However, when we get down to people of your age, a little bit older, because you're quite young, there seems to be more. There's more energy there, and in many respects, we could be looking at the skipping of a whole generation and moving to sort of a millennial generation of Democratic leaders. Give me your sense of that, if that tracks with what you know from your data.
Yeah, so there's actually a good political science literature suggesting that descriptive representation is very important for voter turnout. What that means is that having people who look like you, who share important characteristics of your political identity. And increasingly, age is something that is a meaningful characteristic to someone's identity. This was not true in the past, but it is now. You can increasingly predict how someone votes based on their age group. It's not the only predictor, of course, but it is a salient characteristic. So what is really positive this cycle for me is seeing candidates like Abrams, like Finkenauer, like Gillum, who are young, seeing candidates like Beto O'Rourke, so that young people sort of feel a stake in the political system that they have not had before. They saw politics almost entirely as a spectacle of boomers, roasting each other and failing to use social media. And now all of a sudden there are candidates, in deep blue districts, you have candidates like Ocasio-Cortez who represent and look like them and speak to the issues the way that they speak to issues, and like are digital natives, so they know how to use social media in a way that's not embarrassing. And I think that is absolutely something you're seeing here, that you're going to see a wave of much younger candidates, a much more diverse set of candidates. For the first time, probably ever, the sort of majority of Democrats who are on the ballot are women. That's including all districts, not just swing districts. So we're actually seeing a sort of Democratic class of candidates that looks like and talks like and shares the values of the Democratic base, when for the longest time, under 2006, Rahm Emanuel, the strategy was actually, let's get a set of candidates that doesn't represent the Democratic base, but sort of represents what Rahm Emanuel thinks a candidate should look like, which is almost exclusively a white male small business owner.
All right, lastly, just Kara Eastman, because this race strikes me as one where, to the extent that, and we obviously don't know, but to the extent that lessons are drawn from this election, there's, if there are two sides to this argument about what should candidates look like and what positions should they take in reddish or purplish districts, people are going to try and use Kara Eastman as example of let's say why we couldn't take Omaha just give me your take on that. And there's a couple of those races where there's a feeling that the Democratic establishment did not want to support a Kara Eastman, let's say, because they didn't want that to be a hammer used against them in the future.
Sure. So we actually looked at the Upshot data. So Upshot, the New York Times Upshot polled Nebraska's 2nd district, and they found Don Bacon leading. But they asked in that poll, do you support a single-payer healthcare system? And in the same poll that had Don Bacon leading, a majority of likely voters also supported single-payer healthcare. So, there's not a lot of evidence that if Kara Eastman loses, she lost because of single-payer healthcare, because we know from polling that that's actually what the majority of people in that district support. And we also know it's not true because we have candidates like Katie Porter, Colin Allred, Josh Harder, all running on single-payer, all strongly favored to win their districts. So I think that the problem with trying to cherry pick, these districts is that in a lot of cases there are actually other factors going on. In this case, there really was, the party didn't invest a lot behind Eastman. I think partially because they felt like she didn't deserve to be the candidate, even though she, won the primary fair and square. And you also have Don Bacon being a sort of more popular than average Republican incumbent, possibly because he hasn't had quite as many ads, run against him that would drag down his favorables. But I think that there are lots of explanations you can have for why Kara Eastman doesn't win, if in fact she doesn't. I would say if there's a sort of blue wave scenario, there's entirely possible that district comes onto the map. But if she does lose, it would be weird to me to immediately blame a policy position she took that the sort of gold standard of polling, New York Times Siena, suggests is popular in that district.
Right. All right. Good. I think that's important for people to know because we're going to see that story, right? Somebody's going to write that story. And I hope I don't know who the person is, although I have a guess. I think I know who it is.
Well, Sam, that's why people should go to the What the Hell Happened blog, where we'll be demolishing these pundit mythologies.
Wait, where? What is it? The what blog?
The Data for Progress is running the What the Hell Happened project, which is our sort of comprehensive coverage of the midterms with data and polling and analysis.
What the hell happened, and what is the address on the?
WTHH.dataforprogress.org.
Wow, that really rolls off the tongue. Why didn't you just get WTHH.com?
Well, because then it wouldn't be well, you can go to WTHH.org, but it'll direct you to that.
Okay. Well, that's easier.
I got to get that sweet traffic so the donors know, in my Alexa rankings that we're doing good.
Well, I know, but if you forward it to that site, you'll get it the same way.
That's true. No, but it does work. WTHH.org does work. I feel like your listeners are smart enough to, that they can hear the long route.
Why would you put obstacles in front of people? Look, this is part of the reason why you've been so deplatformed. That and the filthy mouth. Sean McElwee.
You have Eric Levitt on every freaking week, and I have to. When we grab dinner, he mocks me. He says, "Oh, I was on Sam Seder again tonight."
We'll try and balance that out. Sean
Thank
McElwee.
you. It means a lot for our rivalry.
Sean McElwee, really appreciate your time today, man. And folks will check that out. WTHH.org. Appreciate it. See you, buddy.
Thanks,
bye. I should explain to people that for a long time after, so I think it was like he waded in to a Twitter argument or one-sided discussion I was having with Dave Rubin. He was not responding to me, and saying, speaking of deplatformed, you not having me on your show is like being deplatformed. And then that just sort of like it grew over time. And then I was actually hesitant to have him on the show at one point because I didn't want to ruin the sort of the joke that we had going, that I was deplatforming him. But, all good. Well, not really great jokes. I mean, I guess
basically
it was
an inside joke for you.
Yeah, it was just basically an inside joke. It's more like, it's not even an inside joke. It's sort of like, I don't know.
Well, now
handshake.
It's an inside joke for everybody who listens. So.
I feel like an inside joke for me could be the name of your entertainment memoir.
That's right. Inside joke. Not for publication. But Sean McElwee, folks, check out WTHH.org. They do really good work there. Really, really smart stuff. And the more that his stuff gets out there, and gets the attention that it deserves, the more candidates will start looking at that data and understand, they don't necessarily have to listen to the besuited consultant who comes in with the cookie cutter program from 1994, essentially to try and run for office. And so, all right, look, we're going to do this quick. We're going to head into the fun half. We will take phone calls, but I want to take calls from folks who are either can give me a report from their polls. Maybe they're doing voter protection if they're an attorney or a paralegal, et cetera, et cetera. Okay? So try and do that.
Yeah.
Folks.
So IQ and race,
yeah.
you're up.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Hi, there was a dispute several months ago where you and Michael Brooks.
No, it's just going to be like, as soon as the first person who calls in, Sam, I just have a problem with you. And like, okay, well, you have a half hour. Let's go at it.
Sam, I have some concerns about, actually not, I think Bernie will win, but the re-elect in 2024. I think there's some scenarios we're not outlining here.
At 7:30 p.m. tonight, Eastern Standard Time, we will start our coverage. There is, we're going to have a sense at 7:30. We're going to have a sense of how the night's going to go, because we'll have, I think by 7:30, we're going to have a sense of what's going on with Joe Donnelly. If Joe Donnelly is about to win or has won his Senate race, there's reason to believe that the Democrats have all but won the House at that point. And then as you go a little bit later, there are some other, like that Dave Bratt race in Virginia is a big one. There's one in Kentucky that'll also give you a sense. I mean, these are like, sort of the suburban style races.
On the fun half, can we each pick the one person that we would most like to see lose, just in terms of like the strongest contempt? Who? No, I'm not going to pick Cruz if that's what you're saying. I have another pick besides Cruz.
Okay.
It might be interesting. Yeah, who would we get the most personal satisfaction out of see going down?
Oh, well, this is.
Well, wait, we're not doing it now.
In the
we're
fun
not
half.
doing it now.
Yeah.
We're not doing it now.
I like Sam's like, I don't know about that idea. Okay, it's a good one, but not now.
So 7:30, tune in. Joining us tonight will be, I don't know, a cavalcade of people. So stick around. Some will be in studio. Some will be on the phone. We will be drinking and hopefully celebrating, making up for 2016.
If we're not celebrating, I am not staying for all
There you go.
coverage. We should just.
We just
walk
away.
Just walk
away.
Walk
Let
away.
the recording
We
still
can do it
continue.
tomorrow. Weigel can
24.
explain why there's going to be no future for humanity on Earth.
That's right.
Can't forget to do self-care.
That's right. The self-care show. Folks, don't forget, you can
Self-care show with Sam Seder and Michael Brooks.
Support this program by going to jointhemajority.report.com. Jointhemajority.report.com. It's not like a backslash thing, like apparently the data guy doesn't realize is an obstacle to people going there. Jointhemajority.report.com. For pennies a day, you can support this program. We give you extra content every day in the form of the fun half. And also just coffee.coop, fair trade, coffee, tea, or chocolate. Use the coupon code majority, get 10% off. Michael, tonight is Tuesday.
Yes.
Preempted. This
Preempted
is like
by live
like
and MR coverage of the election.
Brian Williams preempting.
You should do a Brian Williams. Like, will you apologize tonight? Michael Brooks show is not
play
here.
the Danarchy theme.
Yeah. However,
just interrupt it in the middle.
This reminds me of the time that Benjamin and I were abducted in Romania.
Exactly. Always a
That should
pleasure.
definitely, anytime you do a Williams impression, just has to have multiple fake anecdotes that show unusual physical courage.
And with us tonight, a real pleasure to have him in the building. He is one of the best board operators that operate their boards, and we are happy he is operating the board for us tonight.
He usually operates the board for TMBS at this time, now operating the board for us.
You have
the same
your
board, same operator,
fingers.
different show. Michael Brooks is here, but on a different microphone.
There you are.
Because we are indeed doing live coverage. That is the Williams, the constant looping back. All right, 2 TMBS live shows next week. This Sunday, Bill Fletcher Jr. is joining us, and we might unlock it for a sort of not only a post-election breakdown, but the sort of longer-term historical trends that he talks about. Veteran black Marxist, labor unionizer, and political theorist. On the homepage of the website, buy tickets to February 1st for our first live show at the Bell House with Bhaskar Sankara, Alona Minkowski, Trevor Beaulieu, the special guests. We've sold about a third of them, and we've only had them up for a week, so get yours quick. Patreon.com/TMBS.
Jamie, the Antifada.
Yeah, so this week on the Antifada, we have Jay Firestone, who wrote a pretty amazing piece for Commune Magazine about his 3 months infiltrating the alt-right in New York.
I still have that lined up on my Instapaper.
Yeah, check it out. It's amazing. He got into the Daily Stormer Book Club, the Right Stuff's pool party, the New York Forum, which is basically like the Nazi version of the historical materialism conference that we have on the left. And of course, our friends, the Proud Boys. We talked about what that experience was like for him, who these people are, how the different groups interact with one another, how they view Trump, as well as anti-fascist tactics, why only the far left can effectively fight the right, and what leftists can and should be doing to fight the Nazis right now.
I had a joke back in my early days of stand-up about why hate groups were increasing under Bill Clinton, and I was talking about how does that happen? You're tired of one white supremacy group because you want to join another one because they have better health, better dental. That's what that reminded me of.
I particularly like the setup.
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't go through it.
You really sold it.
I wasn't doing the joke. Thank you. Oh, Jesus.
And I'm doing another thing later. Thank you for giving me the evening off. I feel like I shouldn't say what it is because it is a direct competition.
You can say what it is. Jamie has decided to do Chapo Trap House tonight instead of Majority Report.
You know, I wear many hats.
The loyalty factor is just
life,
none. That is so sad.
Well,
and Sam just accepts the cucking. Just matter of fact cucking.
I feel bad. I do. I'm sure you guys will be okay without me.
She feels bad for cucking you, Sam.
But I will be appearing in my official capacity as the official Antifa liaison to the Democratic Party. So
there you go.
You understand that's really important
for
me.
No, definitely.
Well, sounds like a whole lot of good comedy ahead tonight from all quarters.
Matt, now I know that tonight you're going on Pod Save America. You won't be with us.
But in the wilderness with Tommy Vito.
Jesus. Oh, my God. Wow. That's a deep cut.
Yeah, Literary Hangover. There's some patrons-only content this weekend. And coming up this week, this Saturday, is going to be Hope Leslie, which is... I'm trying to make it a... It's sort of got erased from the canon for sexist reasons, but I think it's one of the greatest early novels in America. So we're going to be talking about that.
All right, folks. 646-257-3920. We'll be right back in a minute.
You are in for it.
All right, folks. 646-257-3920. See you in the fun.
Are you ready?
Who sent us this?
Alpha males are back, boys back, and the alpha males are back.
Just as delicious as you can imagine.
The alpha males are back, boys back, and the alpha males are back.
Just want to degrade the white man.
Alpha males are back.
I take all of it in my throat.
Alpha males are back.
Almost says what?
The alpha males are back.
You are a madman.
And the alpha males are back.
I am a total cunt.
Can we bring back DJ Dannerky's song, please?
Yeah, or a couple of them. Just put them in rotation.
DJ Dannerky.
Well, the problem with those is they're like 45 seconds long, so I don't know if they're enough of a break.
That's fucking nonsense.
Hey, folks, reminder.
I do not have Parkinson's.
And the alpha males are...
Psych. Fuck them.
Almost says what? Almost says what?
Hell of a lot of bank. 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 All lives matter.
Have you tried doing an impression on a college campus?
I think that there's no reason why reasonable people across the divide can't all agree with this. Psych.
The alpha males are back. And the Africans are black African. And the alpha males are back. And the Africans are black.
See Donald Trump out there, doesn't a little part of you think that America deserves to be taken over by jihadists? Keeping it 100. Can't knock the hustle. Come on! Fuck them. Things I do for the bigger game plan. By the way, it's my birthday! Happy birthday to me, Jew boy! I
have a thought experiment for you.
And the alpha males are back. Africans are black. Alpha males are back. Africans are black.
Come on. Well, come on. Come on. Someone needs to pay the price for blasphemy around here.
I am a total pussy. Pussy.
All right, folks. Let's go quickly to the phones. Calling from a 917 area code. Who's this?
Hey, Sam, Lawyer Matthew up in Hudson.
Lawyer Matthew calling from the 19th New York Congressional District. You doing voter protection, buddy?
I am doing voter protection, doing the Lord's work.
What's going on?
People are streaming in. It's been nasty and raining up here, and the poll workers are like, can't believe how many people are coming in. They're over 650 votes about 10, 15 minutes ago.
Wow.
I wasn't able to look up what the district normally does, but it feels like a lot. And they haven't gotten the afternoon rush or the post-work rush, and it's been really nasty. The rain's just starting to let up, so they're like overwhelmed. But all good, all smooth. Feels like a Democratic crowd, but we are in Hudson.
Right, and in Columbia County, generally tends to go for the Democrat to a certain extent, at least around that area. And I do know, though,
Right.
the absentee ballots were huge up there. Did you hear
I can
anything?
speak for our family. We had 3 in.
I heard from the this is Delgado's district. Did you get a chance to meet him?
Yeah, I've met him. He was in our home. We had a fundraiser.
Oh.
And I met him a couple of other times.
All right. Well, there you go. Anything else?
Super nice guy.
Yeah. Anything else to report?
Nothing right now. I wasn't able to listen live because I'm working. You guys on later?
We will be on starting at 7:30 p.m. tonight.
I'll be driving home after the polls close.
All right.
Hopefully to a victory.
All right. Yes, indeed. All right. Well, listen to us on your way back. Thanks for calling.
Absolutely.
Thanks for doing the work.
Long time listener.
Yeah.
Talk to you later, man.
No, we've actually bathed together. But that was a long time ago.
I believe that.
TMI.
There's all sorts of
I know,
weird
I
white
know.
shit going on with this show.
I know.
Isn't Delgado married to a Jew?
Call it.
Just ask a question.
Calling from a 509 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Sam, this is Ronald Reagan.
Ronald Reagan. How are you, sir?
Good. I'm in a really deep red district, but I just want to encourage people to reach out to their local NAACP. There may be some really good voter intimidation opportunities out there for you. I'm standing by a drop-off location. We have a vote by mail in Washington, but you can just stand by these ballot boxes with a couple of like really big black guys, and it helps. Like, we've had a lot of old people just drive right by. Like, they kind of slow down and they see what's going down. And then in some cases, like these ballot boxes, if you know someone with like a good, like a metal saw, you know,
yeah,
you can cut that shit right open and just, you know, straight up go through the ballots. It's actually not that hard. So you're always talking about, like, and I know Jamie's big on this, it's not enough to just vote, and that's fucking true. Like, that's what I'm realizing more and more. And so get out there. The Southern Poverty Law Center, they also have a lot of opportunities. It's not just the NAACP, local Black Panthers, La Raza. They're doing all kinds of good shit. And I just want to thank you for being a platform for all of these, you know, radical left agendas.
Well, I appreciate
Over the years.
I appreciate your intimidating the right kind of voter. So thanks so much.
Hey, I've got a real quick comment from yesterday when Trump said you're the one who's violent. Your question is violence. Remember that?
Yeah.
Do you remember Pee Wee Herman? Did you ever watch Pee-wee's Big Adventure?
Of course. I know you are, but what am I?
I know you are, but what am I? So remember when he said you're the puppet at the debate? So Pee-wee is like, I guess the joke is that he's like an exaggerated, infantilized adult sort of thing, and Trump is literally Pee-wee Herman.
It's true. Well, that's exactly what happened with his. That's what his whole thing this morning that we played with him saying my tone. Like I apologize, my tone was bad, but it was his fault. That's why I did it. I mean, I have those conversations with my kids every day. Mila, stop hitting Saul. I'm sorry, but he's the one who hit me first. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do it.
Well,
but
we're going to have to
do,
I mean, who did hit who first? We have to determine that.
But I appreciate the call.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Bye.
Calling from a 203 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Ray from Connecticut.
Ray from Connecticut. What's going on?
How you doing, Sam?
I'm doing good. You voting?
Man, hanging in there. I just got a quick question for you, man. They were talking about your numbers last week. Just got to give some love to the hood, Sam. We out here, we rocking with you. You got the old black guy anger. It translates well over here, so we've been tuning in. We've been subscribing, man. Just wanted to, show the love.
All right, appreciate it.
Y'all got to let us know you love us back, man.
Sam has old black guy anger.
I do.
Yeah, you do. That's right.
Yo, Mike, I'm telling you, the day when he found out about the Supreme Court and you guys are talking about something and he just spazzed, it was like, shut up. That's my dad, man. We're like,
So I remember that. I actually wasn't in that day because I was really sick. And somebody sent me a clip of it actually, and what was amazing was someone was like, Kennedy's retiring, and Jamie's like, yeah, and you could listen to the Antifada, and I thought you were gonna jump over the desk. And start physically. I was like, whoa, look at Sam, this is wild.
We hadn't.
That was the most awkward. It was like the most awkward plug. And Sam, I thought Sam was either gonna turn into the Hulk or die.
I will admit that was not my best timed moment.
I don't totally remember it.
You're literally Sam's like,
that.
Kennedy is retiring. Life is over. Yeah. And you can listen to the Antifada about why the Supreme Court is bullshit. And he goes, we're not talking about that. We're talking about the fucking Supreme Court.
Can you please get it right?
No,
he saw
that
the
was
news.
Exactly right.
He did not say the news yet. I was attempting to finish the last conversation, but he was done.
That's what you're talking about, right? That was when the middle-aged black anger came out.
Yeah, I had a quick question.
All right, let Ray ask a quick question. We're getting sidetracked here.
I've been trying to get more involved, especially talking to my family because, they're super, super, super religious. So I was talking about my dad, why wasn't it more important in our community to, being more involved in politics? And, just a quick story or whatever, my wife is white, and he looks over his shoulder, and he says to me, he's like, I had a white girlfriend before. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, I had to hide in the trunk because, he was a busboy and she was a waitress. And he said, if I wanted to see her at night, I had to hide in the trunk because if we were caught together, I literally would, I was afraid I would get murdered.
Right.
And so when he was just, trying to, just tell me it's even though we've come really far or whatever, he looked at me and he's like, son, this is what it's always been like for me. What it's always been like for me. He's 72 years old, and he's like, I've always had this experience with America. It's never been, welcoming for me. So my job, he felt it wasn't important to be involved in, politics, but to show me how to survive. He made sure I had a trade. I'm an electrician.
Right.
And he wanted me to be able to take care of myself. And everybody was calling yesterday, and it made me think, it's those are some questions because there are some people that have, I didn't have a comeback for it because it was such a visceral answer. He's like, I hid in a trunk when I wanted to hang out with my girlfriend because I was afraid to get, because they're from the South. He was in Florida, and we moved up here to Connecticut when he wanted to start over and get away from that type of stuff. And I was just wondering, do you guys have any type of advice for people that are trying to talk to that generation that do have a lot of trauma attached to,
I would say that, it's a hard argument. It's a hard argument to make, right? Like, I mean, his experience of the United States has been one where politics don't matter that much. But I would say this to him is that the reason why you don't have to, Ray, don't have to hide in a trunk is a function of, I mean, largely the activism of people in your father's generation, but also to some extent having politicians who needed to respond to it as opposed to needed to not respond to it. You know what I'm saying? Right? Like if Donald Trump is not going to respond to that, the Republican Party is not going to respond to that. They are a party who are all invested in the id of 95% white people that populate their party, and having, it's not the end all be all, but having the right people in office for that type of progress is necessary. And I would just say, like, it's a difference. It's not maybe it's not a world-changing difference, but the idea that you don't have to hide in that trunk now is in part a function of politics. Now, we're at the very least electoral politics. It's certainly a function of politics.
Don't lose it, Sam. Feel that?
No, that's a great point. Thanks, love you guys. Thanks, and just keep up the good work, because I had no idea about any of this stuff. I started following your libertarian clips, and I was like, this is. And for all those libertarians that called and said none of this shit would happen, it's all happening. He was right. Stuck on it. It's a zero-sum game, Mike. It's a zero-sum game.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
You got to call more.
Thanks, Ray. Appreciate it.
That's a very strong contender caller right there.
Yeah. All right, let's go through. All right, so let's talk about who is it that the Schadenfreude. Who did you want to lose?
Oh, for me, Duncan Hunter.
Duncan Hunter.
Yeah, because of the race baiting campaign he's running against Ahmadinejad. And because I think Ahmadinejad is actually pretty progressive. He's Palestinian, and Duncan Hunter's running. He's a terrorist race bait campaign. And I want him to lose. I mean, look, everybody hates Ted Cruz. Of course you want Ted Cruz to lose, obviously. And Brian Kemp and DeSantis. I mean, these are the worst people on earth. Noam Chomsky just today said the Republican Party is the most dangerous organization in the history of the planet. And that's not hyperbole.
He's been saying that.
Yeah, and he's right, because he's filled with fear, unfortunately.
He is so.
Yeah, he's very fear-based.
So fear-based.
Yeah, I expected more from Daddy Chomsky.
Who do you have any particular people you want to lose?
Who's that guy who flipped out when they questioned him on being a white supremacist? Steve King. Yes.
Steve King. Yeah,
fuck
that'd be
that
good.
guy.
Yeah, Steve King.
I'm afraid I have not been following the midterms as closely as some of you, but that one really stood out to me.
Matt?
Mine is he's not really as out there in terms of the racial appeals. It's still more coded. But Jeff Johnson, who's challenging for governor in Minnesota, I'm terrified of Minnesota going red. The polls have shown Walz up by 8 or 6 lately. So I'm fairly confident in this one. I like to have my Schadenfreude meaning more or less assured. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to enjoy it tonight. If he loses, if Jeff Johnson wins tonight, I'm going to be
a
very sad boy
if he wins.
Brendan is itching. He's got somebody big he wants.
I think everyone's points have been good, but I think a sleeper that we would appreciate afterward the fact would be Scott Walker.
You took mine. You took
nice.
mine. You took mine.
That's a good one.
You took mine. I mean, I have on my list Kemp, Kobach, Cruz, King, but Walker, I have all the KKKs. But Walker I feel like he's a piece of garbage.
He is a piece of garbage.
Sean would agree with you on that one.
I want that guy.
It's definitely a
gone.
zero-sum game with that guy.
If that guy ever somehow gets to be president, Sean and I are just moving to Mexico because his union will be over.
I thought you
That
I
guy
thought
is
you were
not
going to
gonna
say
be
something even
president.
worse than that, which I thought would get us in trouble. But
I'm learning.
no, I thought you were going to yes. But yes, I agree.
I'll save my Antifa crimes for my own show.
There you go. Folks, we talked about Beto O'Rourke on the show. I mean, the Senate, I'm going to say this now. I think there is a decent chance, an underestimated chance, and maybe because it wouldn't have relevance from a political standpoint, but that we end up with a 50-50 Senate. And Mike Pence ends up breaking a bunch of ties for all sorts of things coming out of the Senate. But if we don't, if the Democrats end up taking the Senate, it's going to be because Beto O'Rourke wins. I'm quite convinced of that. It's possible that win could come from Tennessee with Breedson, but I think it's more likely that if the Democrats end up taking the Senate, they're going to lose Heitkamp's seat, but they're going to pick up Arizona, they're going to pick up Nevada, and they're going to win in Texas. And here is a woman who was interviewed after voting for Beto O'Rourke in El Paso, Texas, and she seems to be heavily invested.
Represents everything that Donald Trump isn't. Tell me what it means to you to see Beto, who's sort of a favorite son around here. I mean, we're in his neighborhood a few blocks away, out here representing El Paso, representing you, hoping to represent the whole state. What has it meant for you to see what he's been saying and what he's been doing on the national stage?
Well, I give him a lot of credit for standing up and saying what he thinks and for being willing to represent so many people who are like-minded. It means a lot. We're just so proud.
We're so proud. What will it feel like if you see him win this race tonight?
Everything. Just everything. We want him to win. And we'll be watching the TV tonight with him. He'll be someplace in the city. But it'll mean just so much. It'll mean that, by gosh, we all still have a chance to have a decent country with decent values, with decent relationships with other people.
Thank you so much, Pamela. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
I can't wait for conservative media to be making fun of that old lady. Right?
She sounds triggered.
Right. What a snowflake. But there it is. I mean, there's a lot of enthusiasm down there. And the thing to watch, again, is that figure. What percentage of the electorate in Texas, this is also true like in places like Florida and Georgia, what percent of the electorate is the youth vote? What percent is the Latino vote? If those numbers go up, if they represent a greater share of the entire electorate in those states, then good things will happen from a Democratic perspective.
Don't they have a ton of voter suppression down there, though?
In Texas, they have. In Florida, certainly in Georgia, yes.
Like, I would love to be wrong about this, but Texas is a horror place. I feel like it's going to be a squeaker for Cruz, but I hope that I'm wrong because Cruz is terrible.
Yeah, I think, statistically speaking, it appears that Beto is down like 5 or 6 percentage points, but it's tough to know. It's tough to know what the electorate is going to look like. And if the youth share is double that it normally is, the share, and the Latino share is, near double or 35% more than it normally is, it's very hard to imagine that the pollsters predicted that. Because you need to predict that, what the makeup of the electorate will be to get a genuine assessment as to who's going to win.
It's also just interesting, even if Beto doesn't win, just to notice, like, even in red states, quote unquote, a huge part of the population are just like that woman, and they've been waiting for somebody to come and articulate like a view of politics that they might actually be excited about. And I don't know, that's what's, I think, to me, affecting about that clip.
This is really unfortunate. You really hate the idea that people can't go out and buy a $25 sandwich in downtown Manhattan somewhere. But this clip, apparently 2 women were denied service. At
I gave it to Brendan. Hold on one second.
Were denied service at a restaurant because of their attire. Now, this type of discrimination has been going on for too long in this country.
Far too long.
It is horrific to see this kind of blatant discrimination. This is like what I would imagine
like being
gay people
in the 1950s.
went through in the 50s.
Yes.
These 2 women were apparently denied service. Here we go.
At Carmen's in New York City, wearing my Make America Great Again shirt and hat. We originally walked inside and asked for a table for 2, and he said that the wait was 2 hours because of our hats. Then when we walked in, as you can see from the video, he completely avoided us, but he had a table prior to for just a random incomer. So
we got turned down as 2 Jewish women.
2 Jewish women just got
kicked
turned
out
down
of a restaurant in New York.
So thank you for that.
You're welcome. Get
Now-
the fuck out.
I'm not sure what their
We don't got any
Jewishness-
dreidels for you here.
Oh, they look so Jewish too.
No, we don't got any dreidels. We don't got any bar mitzvah performances. With DJ Khaled for
I
you. Get
wonder
the fuck out.
what they're trying to leverage the shooting in Pittsburgh to getting served at Carmine's wearing Make America Great Again hats.
Same thing, basically.
Look, this happens all the time at restaurants. People who are, unsightly are given bad tables so that the rest of the restaurant, or doesn't, put them in the window so that it doesn't drive people
You
away.
couldn't walk in there just like shirtless.
No.
There's just certain basic decorum you have to follow if
Of
you want to get
course.
seated at most restaurants.
Of course. And it's surprising. It's rude to wear your hat inside.
Yes. Very rude.
I mean,
it's also rude to be
not for
Jewish.
everybody. But
I will take up a collection for whatever server denied them, because I feel like we need to encourage these small acts of goodness in the world.
I want to go to Carmine's in a Bernie Sanders hat and see if
Right.
I get in right away.
Oh, you should come out and do a video.
I got served in 5 minutes.
I got
a table.
served. Not Jewish.
Hey, we're
not
at
Jewish.
Carmine's. We're one of us is Jewish, and
I'm just gonna go in like full black bloc attire and see what happens.
That maitre d' for president 2020.
yeah, so that's great. So think of those 2 and go vote. Give them a bad day.
This is, Chuck Grassley gets still just any credit that is given to any of these Republicans. Chuck Grassley has been given some type of, I don't know, some credit for being, in some way a balanced Republican, right? I mean, and aside from the fact that he lied his way through the Kavanaugh hearing, and then apparently.
But I said sexual assault was bad, which proves my bipartisan bona fides.
And for anybody who says that, look, they're not all racists. The Republicans are not all racists. And you know who you are that are listening to me, who say that to me occasionally. And I'm being full of hyperbole. The bottom line is, if you are willing to ignore someone's blatant racism and vote for them or endorse them, then guess what? You're racist. That is,
That couldn't
just-
be more unfair. I
Well-
disagree with Steve King in a white ethno state, but I support him for giving tax breaks to Monsanto. And I'm just tired of all of the divisiveness in the country.
Wait a second.
Jew.
I don't need you to say that, because here's Chuck Grassley saying that.
Iowa needs Steve King in Congress. I also need Steve King in Congress. I feel like I do a good job of representing Iowans, and so often I have found Steve King to be such an ally that I need in the other body called the House of Representatives. He's worked with so many things that are important to Iowa: agricultural issues, the Farm Bill, alternative energy, things that are very important to Iowa, like wind energy particularly.
Pause it. Let me just, alternative energy is probably ethanol, right? It's just getting
Definitely
like
ethanol.
Corn
Ground
subsidies.
up children of color.
And ethanol and biodiesel as well. Without his help in the House of Representatives, Iowa would not be the #1 ethanol state in the nation, and Steve King's district is stronger in ethanol than any other congressional district in the entire country. But also, I don't want you to forget that he's very pro-life. He's much for a strong military. But for those things that are very important to Iowa, for the working people of Iowa, like he was for the tax cut, or he promoted a small business tax cut, the first time that small business had any recognition in the tax code. All of these things are important to Iowans, and Iowans need him because his first concern is representing Iowans.
Yes. Well, first off, it's clear that this is like Grassley's last words. I mean, it seems like he's on his deathbed when he's doing this, and also he's held hostage. Can we get the front part of that again? Because I really enjoyed the countdown that they gave him. So ready on when I get to 3, you just start endorsing a white supremacist. Okay, here we go.
2, 1.
Iowa needs.
There you are.
And just because he's, you don't have to agree on everything. We work for ethanol together, and then I say, hey, Steve, what are you going to do? And he goes, I'm going to go burn a cross in front of a black family's home. I go, okay, I'm going to go read the paper.
He specifically...
It doesn't mean that you're with him on every part of the time, and I'm goddamn tired of it.
He specifically didn't mention anything to do with the border, which, Iowa doesn't share a border with Mexico, but that doesn't stop Republicans from North Dakota and Montana from talking about that.
We need the caravan.
Use biofuel.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the caravan. I'm worried about biofuels. And everybody's always trying to distract from the fact that Steve King has a Holocaust replica in his living room. I've got to work on the issue of the people of Iowa.
That's right. He's the only one from the Iowa delegation who would be willing to go to Auschwitz.
I understand that he goes to Auschwitz and he considers it a vacation and a relaxation spot the other way people would do Club Med. But that's not my problem. My concern is ethanol.
There you go.
I'm tired of the liberal media.
Yeah. Looks like he's due for a fresh infusion of poor people blood.
Exactly.
You better get Peter Thiel on the line.
Whatever.
Here is...
Vote fools. Do what you feel. Makes no difference.
Here is Donald Trump with his chief domestic advisor in the country at his final closing rally, asking the American people to vote for his white nationalist, ethnically pure platform.
So we were in Tennessee last night, and Lee was there, and I get that. But this was a surprise tonight. But, that song...
Lee Greenwood, right? That's what he's talking about. Lee Greenwood was there. Proud to be an American. Is that the song that he sings? Or I put a boot in your ass?
Oh, that's Toby Keith.
Okay. All right. Well, here we continue.
That song is one of the great songs. But when he's singing to you, direct, we really like that song, right? And we like Lee Greenwood. And he's been with us from the beginning. He's been with us absolutely from the beginning. And while we're talking about incredible people, let's get it over with, right? So I have a few people that are right out here, and they're very special. They've done an incredible job for us. They've been with us from the beginning also. I'm going to start by saying, Sean Hannity, come on up, Sean Hannity. By the way, all those people in the back are fake news.
Oops. Watch this, though.
Mr. President, I did an opening monologue today, and I had no idea you were going to invite me up here. And the one thing that has made and defined your presidency more than anything else.
Pause it. Now, I just want you to know, like, he's saying, like, I did an open monologue. I am a journalist with incredible integrity and sort of ignoring the fact that he is basically a spokesperson for Donald Trump. So he's saying it as if it's like a coincidence. I complimented you today. Here we go.
Promises made, promises kept. 4.5 million new American jobs.
Pause it. Less than Obama created in his first 18 months, or his last 18 months of his presidency.
Black man anger, Sam. I like it.
Good.
4.5 million new American jobs. 4.3 million Americans off food stamps. 4 million Americans out of poverty. And we're not dropping cash loads of cargo planes of cash to Iranian mullahs that chant death to America. Mr. President?
Well, that's it. You know, that's pause
you.
it. You can't argue with that. We were, of course, dropping all that money. That was...
Would a Cessna be better for that, guys? I just want to make sure it drops in a way that's convenient.
To be fair, the technology involved in the voice-activated levers that would drop the money from the C-30s, that was pretty cool. They could just cheer into the headset, and it would just open up the levers in the cargo base.
A lot of people bitched and whined about why I didn't endorse AOC quick. I didn't hear any commitment about dropping money on mullahs, helping them burn flags. She can run around talking about DSA, this and that. I'm enough with the radical posing. Where's the support for death to America? Come on.
And we're not dropping cash loads of cargo planes of cash to Iranian mullahs that chant death to America. Mr. President, thank you. And we don't mean at all to insult. Look at the size of the media back there. That's a lot of people.
You know, we didn't take more of that, but I wonder if his first reaction to that, right? He doesn't come up like, I mean, Hannity said all this stuff, and it's as if it is stuck in his head when Hannity said the very first thing. Trump didn't let go, and he first came up, and he basically, to the extent that Trump can, he apologized to the media. That, to me, also indicates that maybe he thinks he's in for a beating today.
And Donald Trump is not the only person who had a somewhat anxious, disingenuous response to that. Fox News has released a statement, and apparently Gene Pirro was also up there campaigning with Trump. Fox News does not condone any talent participating in campaign events. We have an extraordinary team of journalists helming our coverage tonight, and we're extremely proud of their work. That was an unfortunate distraction and has been addressed.
You know what Trump thought when Hannity said that thing about the fake news was?
You know, spelling that out sounds somewhat invidious, and we don't really have time to clean up the mess.
There you go.
Don't say that. Not supposed to say that.
That is quite the pull. That is quite the pull.
I read there were some actual Fox News cameras in the back there, too, when he was throwing shade, so.
Oh, I would imagine. All right, we're going to race through. Listen, I got, there's 34 callers on the line. I don't know if we're going to get to all of them, but we're going to go quick. Unless you have some type of get-rich-quick scheme or something like that, we're going to go quick. Starting with a 630 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Hi, my name is Joe. I'm in Jefferson County, Missouri.
Joe,
which is excerpt south of St. Louis.
And what's going on, Joe?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hey, I was just going to talk about the poll. So the polling station I was at was really busy. The thing I noticed that I thought was interesting was on the ballot, there was probably 7 or 8 judges that had no Democratic contest. So I think that's just attributable to how, kind of unlikable Claire McCaskill has been. Obviously, I voted for her. I'm not pulling like a Jimmy Dore here, but I do think that if we do not win the Senate, I'm optimistic about Beto in Arizona. I do think that there's a really good chance that we may not win Missouri. And I think the fact that we have so many open, non-contested judges, how hard is it to put a Democratic judge up for part of this election? I think her inability to kind of lead the party here in the state, it's not her job. Obviously, she's a federal senator, but I do think it says a lot when you compare it to someone like Gillum or Beto, who's helping all these down-ballot people. I think that's a race that I'm not optimistic about, even though I voted here.
All right. Well, I appreciate the update, Joe, and it's a very good point. Thanks for calling in. Calling from an 847 area code. Who's this? Where you calling from? Got to be quick.
Sam Seder. It's Josh from Chicago.
Josh from Chicago. What's on your mind, bud?
Well, I guess I just wanted to talk about Missouri for a second.
Sure.
Basically, I think what's going on right now, when I lived in Missouri, it was actually a somewhat blue or purple state because you had a Democratic governor in Jay Nixon, and you had Claire McCaskill there, and it was basically a toss-up state, especially in 2008. And that shifted after Ferguson in 2014. Nixon, they were not able to get a Democratic governor there. And I think what we've seen with McCaskill is that she's basically, instead of going back to her base, which what made Missouri a somewhat swing state was that there was enough black vote out there. There's enough black voters in St. Louis and Kansas City that could potentially make it into a swing state and give you a Democratic senator or a Democratic governor. And of course, after the way Nixon handled Ferguson, it sort of suppressed some of that vote. She's basically ignored the black vote completely and instead focused on trying to win over conservative voters with anti-immigrant rhetoric, things like saying she's supporting the migrant caravan ban. Basically, I hope she gets reelected. If I were still living in Missouri, which I would have voted for her. But I think even if she does or even if she doesn't, the Democratic Party there has to find someone who's more competent, at least campaigning, to replace her, either by primary or something. Because,
Josh, let me drop you because I think the point's been made. We just got two calls in a row about Missouri, and you guys echoed each other.
Sorry.
No, that was great because it you added to that caller's call. He just basically said the same thing. That Claire McCaskill, not good politician, and leaving stuff on the table. Appreciate the call, Josh. Calling from a 731 area code. I'm going to be quick with you. Your name is and you're calling from.
Hey, I'm Ed from Tennessee. I'm going to be quick, Sam. Hey, this is what kills me. I've called Bernie Sanders, different places, the DNC. 1960, corporate taxes were 4% of GDP. Today, it's 2% of GDP. Healthcare was around 5% of GDP. Today, it's 17.4% of GDP. I just looked it up on Forbes. We spend $3.8 trillion a year. But this is the kicker. And I've been trying to tell every Democrat that would listen, and none of them use this info. 33 cents of every dollar is wasted in our health care. Why isn't that talked about from the Democrats? We need Medicare for all.
Well,
period.
Ed, I agree with you. And the good news is, and I appreciate the call, that according to our guest today on the program, about 50% of Democrats running for office were running on Medicare for all. Calling from a 478 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from? Got to be quick.
Sam, this is Jeff from Georgia. How you doing today?
I'm doing well, Jeff. What's happening? Is Stacey Abrams going to win?
Hey, man. Just going to give you a little update on Stacey Abrams. Is she going to win? I'll be damned honest with you, man. I don't know. I really don't. I feel the energy here. It's really what I was talking about. I went down to the polling place and saw some volunteers out, a lot of Stacey signs. I saw the gentleman at the door passing out free shotguns to every voter, of course, as required by state law, so that was nice. But I did seriously. I saw a lot of Stacey Abrams people out. gave me the old thumbs up, honking my horn, right? Like, didn't see no Kent people, not even down here in small town Georgia, which is an excellent sign. I keep telling people the more people who vote, the worse it is for them. They are afraid of people voting who don't normally vote, right? The more people who vote, the better it's going to be for us. Everybody get your ass out there and vote for a damn fine governor named Stacey Abrams. Sam, I'm going to talk to you tonight. Yeehaw!
I'm Jeff from Georgia, dissident peasant. Thanks so much. Calling from a 404 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from? Got to be quick.
Hey, Sam, it's Josh in Atlanta.
Josh in Atlanta. What's on your mind, Josh? We're really good at
Hey,
it.
I was just going to call in with an anecdote. With, we, for the first time, I've actually been able to vote for a Democrat in every single position. So before it would be like, you'd get Democrat at the national level, but you wouldn't have anyone for all the local stuff. You'd have like a Republican and a Libertarian. But now, and my mom said the same thing. She's actually in a more conservative district than I'm in, and she said for the first time in years there's a Democrat running in every single seat, and that's a good thing.
That's interesting. That's super interesting. All right. Appreciate the call.
And this is the 6th district where Ossoff was, and where Lisa McBath is. So yeah, just for context.
All right, that's interesting.
Bye.
That's great. And again, when you have that many people down ballot, it may not be huge, but you're bringing more people to the polls. I mean, it's just like it's the same theory with the open mic night, right? Everybody's got to bring 10 guests to the open mic night. That's what you got to do.
Tell John Ossoff to stop trying to be me, devil.
Calling from a 647 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Is this me?
Yeah, it is you.
Hello?
Yes.
All right, it's Sebastian from Canada.
Sebastian, what's on your mind?
Yeah, I'll make it right quick. Well, I can't vote.
Yes.
Also, I'm in the military, so I can't really advocate any actual policies. I'm not allowed to do that.
All right.
So I'm double hamstrung here. It's really frustrating knowing how many people are not going to participate in the U.S. There's one thing everybody outside the U.S. wants is a vote in American elections.
I don't blame you.
And, yeah, it's just really frustrating to think that,
Oh, my God.
Speaking of, that must have been
Justin
frustrating.
Trudeau got the hit
Trudeau.
squad on him.
And then a prime minister named Justin Trudeau. Remember that guy used to call
Maybe
him? We had a buddy
he
from
went
Canada
a
who would
little
call
too
in
far.
who really did not like Justin Trudeau. Remember
Yes,
that? He'd always
yes.
be like, and there's a little prime minister by the name of Justin Trudeau who y'all have great coverage of. But meanwhile, he's ripping apart our system up here.
Calling from a 646 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from? Got to be quick.
Hey, Sam, this is Train Boy from New York City. I just thought I'd give you a report. I voted first thing this morning. All the people there said were shocked at how busy it was. I live in a really liberal district, so take of that what you may. I will say that after Andrew Cuomo's mewling, pathetic suck-up to Jeff Bezos yesterday, and Howie Hawkins campaigning with Jimmy Dore, I voted for governor for the candidate with the Green New Deal. That would be you, Sam. I hope you bring your angry black man energy to Albany. Left is best.
All right. I appreciate the call. There you go.
I think I'm going to write in Rosa Luxemburg or something like that.
Can you write in on a party ticket, a party line?
You can always write. Well,
you write
on
in
a party
for-
line, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I don't think you can.
I mean, that's the only thing is I want the Working Families Party to get their 50,000.
Eh.
I'm going to keep it real. I voted for Howie.
That's who I'm voting for, too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jimmy Dore help you
I'll
with
probably
He
vote
sure
for
did.
Howie.
I said, I told the lady in front of me, I said, I'm not voting out of fucking fear. And she went, what?
Calling from a 215 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from? Got to be quick.
Hi, Sam. It's Mindy. I'll be really quick.
Mindy!
Hi. I was number 500 at 8 o'clock today, 8 o'clock this morning.
Wow.
Which was huge. And the parking lot was only halfway filled. I went back at 10:30 just to drive by because I had to go out and do some errands. Actually, I had to get pins for my voodoo doll, for my Trump voodoo doll tonight. But,
Yeah,
well, I'm having
you're
a voodoo
so
doll
awesome.
Party.
You are so awesome. You have a
You know what I'm talking about.
You should come by to Bushwick next time we put a hex on Brett Kavanaugh.
No, you should come to Flatbush with me.
I'll come. Wait, so I have to tell you that
We'll
Jay's
actually
wife's
do it.
staying with me.
You what?
I have to be quick. I have to be quick. So I have
Right.
two really quick things to tell you. Jay's wife's staying at my house till Thursday. Jay from Connecticut.
New Haven, right?
You know she's my best friend, right? Did you know
Yes,
that?
I did know that.
Tweet out the train schedule later.
Okay, so she's staying here, but we got voodoo dolls, and we're having a Twitter voodoo doll party tonight where we made voodoo dolls, and we're gonna every time we flip a seat, we're gonna poke it.
Beautiful. I'm not sure that's the way it works. Actually, you want to go the opposite way. No. You poke it first, and then they lose the seat. All right, but that's
okay.
okay.
Well, I'll
Poke
read up-
continually to be on the safe side.
I'll school myself on that before the party. And then the second thing was when I went to the post today, the lady, my neighbor behind me is running.
Right.
By the way, who only has 5 signs up in my neighborhood, and there's 150 houses. So one of the women was there said, "Don't forget to vote for Wendy Thomas." I said, "She's my neighbor, and I won't vote for her." And the lady said to me, "Are you that fucking bitch that's thrown off your lawn?"
Yas, queen.
Mindy is the MVP of Pennsylvania.
What did you say, Mindy?
What?
What did you say? Yes.
My husband said, "This is exactly why I went with you to the polls, so you didn't start a fight and get arrested today."
Oh, my God.
Good for you, Mindy.
As president and CEO of Antifa, I think you are really what we need right now. So thank you. Please join.
I'll do it. Well, I'll contact you. Last thing, I'd like David Bratt to lose to Abigail Stamberger,
Yep.
and I'd like Chris Kovac to lose also tonight.
Yep.
All
right,
and
thanks,
that's
Mindy.
how I feel.
All right, we'll talk to you
All
tonight.
right, have a good night. Love you. We'll listen to you at 7:30. Michelle's going to be here, and you're going to be on our YouTube big screen.
Oh, great. Ooh, wow, okay. Nice. All right, appreciate it.
Hell yeah.
Calling from a 313 area code. Who's this? Where you calling from? Got to be quick.
This is Raymond.
Raymond, where you calling from?
Sam?
Yep, Raymond.
I love the show. I just want to say something real quick. I am a physician in Michigan. It's really hard for me to see these patients repeatedly come in, and they're struggling, and especially when I'm like hermanos, well, it doesn't matter. But the point is, they come in and they're having a lot of trouble, and they have a lot of conditions that require health care, and they don't have health care. And yet they tell me they've voted for Trump, and it breaks my heart, and I don't understand it. And throughout, Haile Selassie said throughout history, it's been the inactions of those who could have acted, the indifference of those who could have done better, the silence of the voice of justice that mattered the most. It made it possible for for evil to triumph. And you guys, just please go on and vote today in Michigan, please. Prop 2 will. We know we have a big problem in Michigan for gerrymandering. Prop 2, make sure you vote yes on Prop 2. And I don't know how you feel about marijuana, but if you want recreational use of marijuana, vote yes on Prop 1. And with that being said, I think you guys are a little bit too hard on some of the Trump voters who have turned over this time around. And I think you owe us, as a Trump voter, if you have come to our side and decided you to be reasonable, please, 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 please take one more person with you, 2 more people with you, because you owe this country for the mistake that you made in the last election. And that's all I really have to say, Sam.
All right, appreciate the call, Raymond. Michigan could go big, I think.
Whitmire, that's a huge race.
Could Senate, the state assembly, the Senate, and the governorship could go, as well as that redistricting, and then, of course, the marijuana. Calling from a 989 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Sam, this is JJ calling from Washington, D.C. How you doing?
Good. What's on your mind, JJ?
Hey, just wanted to get people out to vote in Washington, D.C. I don't know if you know, but there was an Initiative 77 that would raise the minimum wage to $15 by 2020. The people of D.C. voted in favor of that resoundingly in June, and then the D.C. Council just earlier in October voted to overturn the people's decision. So we really need to get out. There were 8 people who voted to turn this down, as well as the mayor, Mayor Bowser, signed this and basically said that the people of D.C.'s decision doesn't matter, doesn't count, that our democracy is null and void. So just really want to get people out. And I wanted to say real quickly, too, that I've been listening since early this summer and just became a member last week. You guys have a great program. I really appreciate what you do.
Thank you, JJ. I appreciate the call.
Hey,
Thanks, man.
thank you.
And,
All right,
and of course, D.C. has so little representation as it is. Just unbelievable they would overturn that referendum. Calling from a 504 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Robert in New Orleans, and I'll just say what I got to say so that way I'll just get off the phone. I never get a chance to call or anything like that, so this is going back to something like a couple weeks ago. But this is to Jamie. Jamie, I love you. You're the best. But I'm a biracial guy. My dad's black. My mom's white. My parents have been divorced. My mom is she's wealthy, and she's a total, like, Trump pseudo-fascist racist. And I don't know what to do about that because – obviously, what I'm getting at is this more than economics, the way that these people act. So it's not just an economic thing. I don't know if it's just tribalism or it's class. People are classless, so they go to racism. I don't know, but it's definitely not economics. I still love you. I'm that guy that tweeted at you that I was a cop and had a bad weed trip, and I came back and I quit being a cop because I had a vision quest. So thank you for liking my tweet or whatever. You're the best. We have a DSA watch party tonight in New Orleans. It is at 12 Mile Limit for any other New Orleans listeners. Thanks a lot, you guys. Have a great day.
Oh, and
I wonder what he
just to
does
be
now.
clear, thank you, by the way, for the love. I agree with you on the level of what's in the psychology of these individual voters and people. When I talk about economics, I'm talking about some next order causes, not within the individual psychology, but like the whole shebang. So when I say economic forces help to bring us Trump, I'm speaking in the macro sense, and I'm also talking about the collapse of the Democratic Party as well.
I'm saying the nature of a pig is to be swine. That's what I'm saying.
Let's go to the phones. Calling from a 651 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to say that I went and voted this morning, and I have to say I was appalled. I'm from Minnesota. First off, voter registration, you can do it right there.
What's your
Paper
name?
ballot.
What's your name?
But my name's John.
Okay, John.
I called in before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was appalled by what I saw. You're able to register there, which is great. Paper ballots, which is great. But there's no one guarding the sticker. I could have just grabbed the sticker, walked out there, said I voted, and didn't even have to vote. What's up with that?
That is ridiculous, and that is
Voter
why
fraud.
we need to have
Voter fraud.
we need to basically
It's
stop
what it
all
is
voting.
it's voter fraud. It's George Soros and the Democrats, and they don't want you to say what you feel, and maybe that's not politically correct, but it's theft in a certain sense, maybe, perhaps.
Appreciate the call, John. This is pretty funny. Let's hope that Ted Cruz is no longer with us as a senator, and maybe in any other way.
Say, why
I
you,
mean,
why you
know,
gotta do that? Don't put
Pull
an
your
extra.
punches.
I don't want to be conditional. But somebody tweeted this out. I guess this woman, right? Met Senator Ted Cruz. He told me the only thing he wants more to win the election is to go to the bathroom. And then there's another tweet. Oh, this is weird. So exciting to meet Ted Cruz from this guy. He said the only thing he wants more to win the election is to go to the bathroom. And then here's another tweet this time from a different woman. Ted Cruz must really have to go to the bathroom. He whispered to me that he wants to do almost as much as he wants to win the election. Awesome. What the F is going on with this dude? That's his... What? Here's another one from another guy. Is this a guy or a woman? Which one is it?
It looks like the woman, yeah.
Ted Cruz will save our nation. Right after he goes to the bathroom, he told me to tell you that. Awesome. What? That must be his go-to
It's my go-to small talk.
Just normal human pooping. That's what I'm doing today.
I'm a human being. I have to go to the bathroom. I'm not any
Like
type
many
of
normal humans,
immortal
I in
monster.
a totally impromptu talk about needing to use the bathroom with strangers.
Or is it just that he's like so nervous about being stuck with a conversation with the horrible human beings who would vote for him?
That's what I thought. It's a perfect out to like, I'm gonna do you the honor of taking a picture with you, even though I have to go to the bathroom immediately after, and we can't carry on any kind of conversation.
Right. I just want you to know that even if I go to the next people over and shake their hands and leave you, you got to feel bad for me because I really got to go to the bathroom. Wow. Ted Cruz, ladies and gentlemen. Ted Cruz. I hope after tonight we never have to say his name again. Let's go to a 505 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from? Got to be quick. I got to go to the bathroom.
Hey, Sam. How are you? This is Ankit. I'm calling from Colorado.
Who is it?
This is kind of this is Ankit, Ankit. I'm calling
Ankit?
from Colorado.
Colorado?
Yeah,
I got to go to the bathroom.
thanks. Yeah. So this is kind of off the topic, but I'm just wondering. I have a certain opinion about the character Apu from The Simpsons. I know it's kind of a couple weeks old now, but as an Indian American, I kind of had a different viewpoint than kind of some of the mainstream Indians.
Listen, hold on. Listen, I definitely want to have this conversation. I definitely do not want to have it right now. We're just taking, we're focusing on the midterm elections. Apu is obviously weighing on everyone's mind, but I do want to just stick with the election. But feel free. Honestly,
read my friend Bhaskar actually wrote a column about this in The Guardian, which is pretty fun.
And I actually wrote a book regarding the whole. I'm wondering if I could just send that to you as a gift online to your email.
What you want to send it to us at majorityreporters@gmail.com.
Perfect. I'll do that.
All right. Thanks, man.
Thanks.
Like I say, I really have to go to the bathroom. Calling from a 574 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Hi, is this me?
It is you. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Oh, hi. My name is Some Gizmo. I'm calling from Indiana. I'm at work, so I had to jump into my IV room quick and hide from everyone at work.
Okay. Wait,
Anyways,
what's your name?
I just want to say that Some Gizmo.
Some Gizmo. Okay.
Sorry, Sam. I haven't been able to get through for like a year because travel for work, but whatever. So today, when I plan on voting for Joe Donnelly, I plan on blaring Chopin's funeral march as I vote because he's such an uninspiring Baptist collaborator, but it's really the best chance we have in Indiana to affect any change on a national scale.
Right. And polls close at what time tonight? 6 p.m.?
6 p.m. I'll be out of here in like an hour or two.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that, and that's going to be the big telltale sign. We're going to know by 7:30. I think what's going on with that race would be my guess.
Indiana, the only nice thing about voting is, for the most part, you really don't matter, so nobody pays any attention to you. But then at the same time, your vote doesn't matter, so nobody pays attention to you.
Well,
you see what I'm saying? It's
yeah,
kind of funny.
I mean, it makes a difference in terms of Joe Donnelly, though, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I have to say that I went to high school with his son, and I'm really regretting not throwing him in a locker right now.
No, I'm sorry to hear that. But next time, that's why, folks, you really got to take that opportunity to throw.
You always have
You never know.
Because you think to yourself, oh, maybe he's having a bad day or something. But in the future, you might be resent voting for their parents in an election. So this is why you bully them today.
Hashtag bully the right people.
Hashtag bully at all opportunities.
Some Gizmo, thanks so much for...
Oh, and Jamie, thank you for the follow back on Twitter. Oh, sorry to cut you off, Sam. Thanks for the follow back on Twitter, guys. And I'll be subscribing to Literary Hangover and Antifada, so I'll be subscribing to all four of your shows. Unless Brendan wants
This
to
is
add
a good
something
guy
too.
right here. This is a guy who knows how to spend his money well.
All right. Thanks, Some Gizmo.
Thanks, bro.
All right.
Bye.
Love you all. Bye.
Bye.
Love you back.
Calling from a 303 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from? Oh, my God. 303. Yeah, who's this? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Sam, this is Dave in Parker, Colorado. How you doing?
Dave in Parker, Colorado. I'm doing well. What's on your mind? Got to be quick.
Real quick. So hopefully this is a hopeful sign of Colorado things to come. Over 1.5 million votes cast early through mail-in ballot.
Wow.
About 520,000 for the Democrats, 515 for the Republicans, 461 and some change for the unaffiliated, which looks like they're going to swing to the Democratic column. So hopefully it's going to be a good night here in Colorado.
Wow, that's big. I appreciate the call, Dave. Good news.
Yep. Go blue.
Wow. Calling from
you're a fucking sellout, dude.
Jesus. Calling. What I was wondering, like, what is Jimmy doing today? Like, we're gonna do coverage, and hopefully everyone will lose.
Did you see that way she said that she thanked all of her supporters? That wasn't really a thanks.
No. Calling from a 360 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
This is Casey from the state of Washington.
Casey from Washington.
And yes, Casey from Washington, the state of Washington. And I had approximately 430 hours of opportunity to vote. And that's because Washington State is a mail-in ballot only, and we now have prepaid postage back. So all I had to do was, once I received it, was find a pen with black ink, fill it in. So anything less, I consider voter suppression. So the country has to go into mail-in ballot only. I received my ballot on the 18th of October. It went out in the mail on the 19th of October. So when I hear about big people showing up in large numbers at different poll sites around the country, it seems so old-fashioned to me and old-timey.
Yeah, it's absurd. It's absolutely absurd. I agree with you.
This is if we get a Democratic president someday, this is what has to be a major push.
Well, what has to happen is this, and I've said this many times. We need the right to vote needs to be a federal law. Needs to be a federal right, and then the federal government can impose all of these different reforms to voting. But they can't do it because there's no basis to them to do it at this point. But I appreciate the call, Casey. You're absolutely right. I mean,
okay.
I'm sold.
I just wanted to say that sometimes the Northwest scene is kind of like funky woo-woo, and we can do things up here, but the rest of the country can't. But, it's Oregon and Washington, and I think 2 years ago, Colorado implemented all mail-in ballot. But it can be done all over the country.
Of course.
And once you enjoy it, you will think, my God, how did we ever get by without doing it this way? Remember, I had 432 hours to vote.
Well, I appreciate the
call,
Casey.
In the convenience of where I live.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye. And it's all paper ballots, too. Calling from a 559 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from? 559. 559. 559. 559. Calling from a 575 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Oh, this is Ryan from New Mexico.
Ryan, what's on your mind?
Oh, yeah, I was just the one who tweeted into you guys telling you that I'm an exit pollster who caught Republican poll workers turning away Hispanic and Latino voters on the day the county clerk's office is closed. And I'm happy to report that the guy I caught, who's also like the secretary for Contra Gun Club, has been fired and will no longer be working at the polls.
Good.
Which is good because at the poll I'm working at, which is the local university, there's a huge line. So everything seems to be going good. But I noticed that they've also clearly marked out how far you got to be away from electioneering. And 30 minutes away from me, at the port of entry, apparently the Border Patrol just released a media, or like a notice for the media that they were going to be doing exercises near Latino and Hispanic neighborhoods on this day that we're supposed to be going out and voting. I guess as a way to sort of intimidate Hispanic and Latino voters.
Disgusting. Well, good for you. I appreciate it, Ryan. Thanks for catching that guy. You probably have basically re-enfranchised tens, if not hundreds of people by yourself. Good for you, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate the call.
Thank you. And I was very happy to hear that my county clerk's office was really quick to handle him. And thank you very much. And I love the show. Have a great day.
Thanks, man. There you go, folks. All right, we're going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more callers. We have still 33 on the line. But if you've been on hold for less than 30 minutes, and I can see. Calling from a 440 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Hey, can you hear me?
I can. Yeah. Where are you calling from? Who's this?
Okay. This is Delaney. I'm in Ohio District 14, northeast of Cleveland, and cat's meowing at me. Okay, so I have 2 points. First off, Betsy Rader is a Democrat going up against Dave Joyce in my district, and my friend talked to her husband, and she is for Medicare for all. I don't know if she takes corporate PAC money, but she's definitely worth voting for. So if you're in Ashtabula County, Geauga County, or Lake County, I will say that you should vote for her.
Okay.
Because...
All right, fair enough. Now, what's next? What's the second point? Got to be quick.
The second thing is, in Ohio, issue 1 is to make drug offenses misdemeanors. And if you live in the state of Ohio, you should totally vote yes on issue 1. And if you are thinking of not voting because politics have become poisonous,
nobody's listening who's not voting. I wouldn't let them. They are not allowed to listen today. But I appreciate the call.
Fair.
People should get out and vote.
Yes.
All right, thanks, man. Appreciate the call, Delaney. Got to jump. Thanks. Calling from a 347 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from? 347.
Hello.
Hello, 347. Who's this? Where are you calling from? Got to be quick.
Rick from New York.
Rick from New York?
Yeah, long-time caller. This is the first time I've ever called before. I just wanted to ask, what are some good candidates, honestly, to vote for? And honestly, I do want to thank you, Kyle, and David Packman for, being a great outlet to listen to get really good news.
I appreciate it, Rick. Where are you voting? In New York City?
Yeah, New York City. Rockaway.
I mean, I don't, without knowing all the positions on your ballot, what I do is I vote the Working Families Party line.
Okay.
And on the ballot initiatives, people I trust are saying yes on 1, yes on 2, no on 3.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Those are some things I really want to listen to. And I'm right around where you actually record your show. I live in Gowanus right now.
Oh, all right. Send us an email if you want to stop by.
All right. Thank you very much, man. Have a great day.
Bye. Calling from a 775 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Sam. This is Reverend Aaron from Punks for Progress.
Hello, Reverend.
I am calling you from Nevada.
All right. What's happening in Nevada?
I am an anarcho-syndicalist who's going to try and encourage people to vote so you know we're in dire straits, right?
Yes.
And because fascism.
I feel you, man. I feel you.
I know you do, Jamie. Now, I'm going to give you one horrible thing that's happening in Nevada that should encourage you to vote and something very cool to vote for as well. So,
Great.
In Nevada, our legislation meets every 2 years. It convenes every 2 years. In the last legislation, there was a whole bank of laws that were written by, Core Civic, the most alarming of which was the privatization of parole and probation, which would turn it into a profit-making industry, which would mean they would have to churn out crime and criminals in order to profit. And Adam Laxalt, who is currently the Republican running for governor here, has met with Core Civic people. So it's very important to vote for Sisolak. 2, another incredible person that we get to vote for in the state of Nevada is Autumn Zenke. She is running on the Working Families Party ticket. She loves labor. She not only organizes actions, she's at every single one that happens in Nevada. And I sent her an audio book of Peter Kropotkin's The Conquest of Bread, and she read it, and she hates capitalism. So
Hell yeah.
There's plenty of reasons to vote in the state of Nevada.
All right, appreciate it.
And if I might be so bold, Punks for Progress will be live streaming the most awful election coverage starting 6 p.m. Pacific tonight.
All right, well, I appreciate the call. There you go. Also, the best phone connection I think we've had.
Indeed.
All right, 2 more calls. Calling from an 813 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Oh, hi, Sam. This is Aaron. I'm from Tampa, Florida. I have a quick question in regards to the alt-right. I am unfortunate enough to have tons of these insufferable little shits in my family. And I'm worried, they always brag about how popular they are and how much influence they have on YouTube and that progressive channels aren't that popular. And they say that they're going to come out and vote and they're going to stun the U.S. because there's so many of them. And I don't think that's the case. I think they're just a loud minority.
I agree.
But I just don't know. I just never seen the numbers on it. So I just wanted to know what your thoughts were on that.
They will not be stunning the country. They are a loud minority.
But they might have a disproportionate amount of say in politics.
That's true too. But in terms of like voting strength, 14-year-old disaffected boys cannot vote. So they may swing the middle school elections, but not the midterms. Appreciate the call. Hang in there, Aaron. All right.
Take care.
Bye. Calling from a 205 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Patrick from Alabama.
Patrick, what's on your mind?
Hey, I actually called you guys the days before the Doug Jones special election, so I wanted to call you on the day of election here. Everything is going to be a long shot, of course, but there's been enthused Democratic participation ever since that election. Just as a quick reference, as far as minority turnout, one reporter saying that Selma is on pace to outdo 2008 presidential election.
Wow.
So we may see really high turnout in the Black Belt, and also seeing high turnout up in Huntsville, which typically has gone for Republican, but did vote towards Doug Jones in that special election. So, like I said, still everything's a long shot down here. But all the Democrats run on Medicaid expansion.
What races do you think there's the best chance for a pickup?
Best pickup maybe Attorney General John Siegelman's running. His father was Don Siegelman, the last Democratic governor of Alabama.
Yep.
We'll see what happens in the governor's race. Local elections, maybe 44% of the state house races, the Democrats are women. 36% of the state Senate races, the Democrats are women. So we may see maybe some turnout for that.
All right, fantastic. All right, appreciate the call. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye. All right, last call of the day. Calling from a 901 area code. Who's this?
Hello, is this me?
Yep.
This is Dylan from Memphis, Tennessee. I was just calling about, first I want to thank you for getting me out to vote. I'm a college student, didn't vote in 2016, but voted now.
Good for you, Dylan.
And also
Appreciate
I just wanted to call to go against David Kustoff. He's our representative in TN District 8. He supported Bolsonaro because Bolsonaro supported Israel.
Oh, jeez.
And, yeah. And he supports Blackburn, both two horrible people. So, yeah, just don't vote for him even though he might win. But the district just went red again in 2011, so maybe he'll lose, hopefully.
Yep.
So, thanks.
Appreciate the call, Dylan. Thanks. All right, folks. That's it for calls. We will be back at 7:30 tonight. We'll save those clips for then, right? We'll be back at 7:30 tonight. Possible guests range from John Benjamin to Nomi Kunst to Judy Gold calling in to David Dayen or Digby and all sorts of different folks. So if you want to watch some coverage, all we're going to be doing is aggregating it from other places, but we're going to be aggregating it from everywhere. So the top 5 coverage probably that is available to you. Right here. You can listen to us on the audio stream via the app at majorityapp.com. Or you can watch us on YouTube. We will be live. All right. Until then, see you tonight.
It might take all the strength I got to get to where I want, but I know somehow I'm gonna get there. I wasn't looking when I just got caught between the truth and the light bar. But finding out won't make me feel any better. Yeah, I know the clock is ticking, but the meds are gonna kick in, and my pilot light shining bright. I guess somewhere the choice was made for the option where you don't get paid, for the road that bends before it finally breaks you. I guess somehow I lost my drive between the 101 and the 5. Do you know how far the detour takes you? Yeah, I know the clock is ticking, but the meds are gonna kick in, and my pilot light shining bright. The months drifted into years while I shifted in and out